Welcome back to the Dota Basics series. This is the first episode in the Basics where we're going to cover a single topic instead of a broad overview. The first topic we're going to cover here is the Dota 2 map and things on it. If you're a more experienced player, I recommend jumping into the Learn Dota series. That way you can jump in and get a strong grasp of Dota 2 strategy. So let's jump into the Dota 2 map a bit more. It's been subtly changed over time and will continue changing, but it still resembles the same square map that we've loved for over a decade. Like we covered in the previous video, the map is roughly split down the middle between the two teams, and there's pathways between the two bases, which are the three lanes. Each lane will spawn lane creeps by each team, and they're going to charge down the lanes towards the enemy base and attack any enemies in their path, which often results in lane creeps battling enemy lane creeps. Both teams have towers defending these lanes to slow the push of enemies towards the throne. Towers provide vision for your team, attack nearby enemies within their range, and also provide true sight against invisible heroes or units. They're a safe place to stand if you're being attacked by enemy heroes, or if there's too many creeps for you to kill by yourself. The names of these towers are in reference to where they are in the line. Tier 1, or commonly typed T1 towers, are the first towers in the path. Tier 2 or T2 towers are just outside of both bases. Tier 3 or T3 towers guard the entrance to the base, and finally 2 Tier 4 towers are in front of the Ancient. You cannot kill the towers out of order in the same lane, though destruction of any Tier 3 tower does allow the destruction of the Tier 4 towers and afterwards a throne if you choose to take that path. If enemy creeps aren't there, towers have this thing called backdoor protection, which makes them resistant to damage and provides some healing, so it's generally best to only try to kill towers with help from your creep wave. The only towers that aren't affected by this are the T1 or first tier of towers. The part of the map between the lanes and towers is referred to as jungles. They're generally seen as no man's land between enemy teams since there's no default vision and neutral creeps spawn there. These neutral creeps have no particular allegiance, and any team can kill them for their experience or gold. Generally, players use the jungle to sneak between one lane to the next during the game and hopefully surprise their opponents, and for that reason you're going to run into a lot of enemies in the jungle and probably fight them there very often. As you march your way across the map to try to destroy the enemy throne, a productive way is to destroy a set of enemy barracks. Each lane has a set of barracks, with a barracks for melee creeps and range creeps. Destroying the barracks can only be done after destroying its accompanied Tier 3 tower. You'd probably guess that destroying your enemy's barracks will make their creeps weaker or not spawn at all, but in reality it just makes your creeps stronger. They have more health points, damage, and they give your opponents less resources when killed. That means your creeps will naturally defeat an enemy wave and slowly push towards the enemy throne over time without any player interaction. If you destroy all three sets of barracks, then your creeps become mega creeps, which are an even stronger version of creeps than you previously had. They can often end the game by themselves and make a comeback extremely unlikely. Now, when you're trying to refer to each lane, you simply look at the map from your fountain and see what position on the map it is. The top lane is the topmost lane on the map, in the middle it's the one in the middle, and if it's the bottommost lane it's the bot lane. It's pretty simple. However, there's other terms for the lanes that depend on which team you're on. If you're on the Radiant team, the bot lane is the safe lane. That's because the creep waves meet relatively close to your tower. The top lane is often called the off lane for Radiant, or the hard lane, because the creep wave is far from your tower when it meets, so it's less safe for you to lane and get experience as a result. For the Dire team, those names are flipped. The top lane is the Dire safe lane, and the bot lane is their off lane. That's more relevant when talking about strategy though, so if you want you can just stick to saying top, mid, and bottom and you'll be just fine. There's some other buildings on the map that we missed as well. Both teams have a handful of shrines sprinkled across the map in their jungles. Unlike towers, shrines do not provide vision for your team or true sight against invis heroes, but they can be used as a location to teleport to with teleport scrolls or boots of travel, just like towers. More importantly, shrines slowly build up a charge every few minutes that, once released, restores health points and mana points to nearby allies of your team. Because of this, shrines can be used to help survive teamfights, restore lost mana or health to your team, or save you from a trip all the way back to the fountain to heal. The fountain is another really important structure. It's where you spawn at the beginning of the game and respawn after dying. If you're ever out of health or mana points, you can go back to the fountain rather than use your consumable items. But generally, if you're out on the map and the shrines are available, I recommend healing with those instead. It'll save you some time. If you do head back to the fountain though, might as well pick up some items in the base if you have the gold. And items are the next important thing to cover when talking about the map. We'll cover the basics of items better in the next video, but to give you the where to buy details that you're looking for, the main place to purchase items is in the fountain, where your hero starts at the beginning. The fountain shop has the most things by far for sale, like common components and recipes, but for the expensive rare items, you'll have to head to either of the two secret shops on the map, or send the courier in your stead. So just remember that if you can't buy something that you want to buy, you're in the fountain, and you have enough gold for it, it's very likely that one of the components that you need is only available for purchase at secret shops. You can also buy some select items from side shops, which are conveniently placed in the 2 side lanes, but the selection is limited. Side shops sell useful early game things like Boots of Speed, Magic Sticks, or Teleport Scrolls to save you from having to walk all the way back to base. Sometimes it's a lot faster to teleport. Something else you can grab on the map are runes. The most common runes are bounty runes that spawn 4 at a time, starting right after the horn at the 0-second mark, and thereafter every 2 minutes. These runes give you a pretty good amount of golden experience, and they give even more as time goes on in the game, so they're great to grab if you have nothing going on. There's also 2 regular rune spots in the river towards the middle of the map. A rune will spawn at only one of these 2 spots every 2 minutes, starting at 2 minutes into the game. Much later on into the game, the runes will spawn at both points every 2 minutes. We'll go deeper into the last few topics a bit later, but I just wanted to touch on them briefly before we go further in the series. Up next is Hero Basics, which covers how to move your hero, how to cast spells, and much more. Thanks for watching!